Mike was going through some rather difficult personal times of his own. In early spring of 1970, he embarked on a strenuous fast, and everyone in the office noticed he had begun to act strangely. "People kept telling us, 'Keep your eye on Mike, keep your eye on Mike,'" said Fred Vale. During that period, the rock performer Little Richard was appearing at the Coconut Grove in Los Angeles, and a contingent of the Beach Boys went to see him. After the show, they went backstage and invited Little Richard up to Brian's house, where Bruce and Carl joined them for a pleasant evening spent in the music room. The next day, they received a strange phone call in the office. Reportedly, Mike Love had gone to Little Richard's room at the Ambassador Hotel and accidentally exposed himself. Everyone wrote the incident off as some whimsy on Mike's part, but Renee Pappas's sister Connie, who was going out with Mike, remembers that Mike's behavior at the time was indeed bizarre. He appeared on a local TV show, and he was an embarrassment, she said. He was taking his clothes off on the show, really getting out there, and they pulled the cameras off him. Connie also recalled that Mike was seeing a chiropractor at the time, who he said would take the demons out of his solar plexus. One day Mike came up to the office on North Ivar and explained that he was feeling okay, but everyone said, "Mike, do us a favor. You might be fine, but let's just go see a doctor. We'll set up an appointment after office hours and no one will know." According to Fred Vale, Mike abruptly said, "Okay, let's go." He got into his rented car, and Vale followed him in his Thunderbird. They drove to a doctor's office on Hollywood Boulevard near La Brea. Mike was carrying around a 2-gallon glass jug of apple juice everywhere he went, said Vale, kind of like a security blanket. Apparently, the doctor realized Mike was right on the edge, and he was about to give him a sedative when Mike saw what was coming and became very neurotic. He jumped up and fled the room. When he came out into the reception room, where Vale was waiting, he threw the jug of apple juice at him, and it smashed against the wall. A second later, Mike was gone. He leaped into his car and took off with Fred Vale following him. He was flipping out, and we went everywhere. It was like the Steve McQueen chase and bullet. We're going up and down hills and around corners and through red lights in Hollywood, and we ended up somewhere near Venice, where Mike pulled into a gas station to get gas. While he was filling up, Vale called Mike's brother Stephen and told him what was happening. Stephen and his father Milton were waiting at Mike's house in Manhattan Beach when Mike and Vale arrived. Everyone insisted Mike go for medical treatment, and when he refused, they tried to force him physically into a car. Mike became violent and nearly bit a chunk out of his brother's shoulder. Eventually, they managed to restrain him and forcibly put him into the back of Fred Vale's car. The 3 men drove Mike to the Edgemont Hospital in Hollywood. The orderlies and the nurses helped him out of the car and got him inside, but Mike was fighting and they had to use a straitjacket. Vale wrote out a $350 check to get him admitted. He remained there about a week under observation, then was moved to a convalescent home for another week until he recovered. Connie Pappas went to see him at the Edgemont Hospital. "I vividly remember him being in a straitjacket," said Pappas. "It was pretty scary." Connie Pappas broke up with Mike soon afterward. In later years, Mike would explain away the incident, saying he had been tainted by the Wilson blood.